Some high school students play football while the rest sit at their desks. When classes end, two students, Kim Kai-yeol and Seok Jun, discuss the numerous mysterious alien spheres that have been hanging in the sky over the entire planet for a year now. Scientists cannot fully study the spheres, but they believe that the aliens pose no danger to humans. Kim Kai-yeol tries to talk to the class's top student, Yeon-hoon, but he ignores the guy and gets on the bus. Meanwhile, soldiers surround one of the fallen spheres and begin shooting at it with small arms fire, then with a grenade launcher. Lieutenant Lee hears a loud bang, after which the sphere opens up, revealing unusual purple creatures. Park Hee-jun, the class teacher, asks the kids to listen to very important information, then turns on the TV, where the president announces an urgent military mobilization across the country, involving even high school students. The students can't believe what they're hearing, and Mrs. A. Park explains that those who agree to undergo military training alongside their studies will be given privileges for university admission. A few hours later, a military truck arrives at the school. The next day, Mrs. T. Park introduces Lieutenant Lee to the class, who explains that military training will take place for the students immediately after school. The students will have to live in the school building during the training period, and using phones is prohibited. The commander appoints Yoo Jong as the head, and Kai-yeol is tasked with documenting all the important moments of the training. When the lessons are over, Sergeant Won Bin takes the students to the military training ground. The students are given rifles, which will be their constant companions for the next few weeks. Then, the boys overcome a not too long but quite exhausting obstacle course. Exhausted after several hours of training, the boys return to the school building. In the evening, a bully named Kwon Il-ha shows his classmates a video from the zoo, where soldiers are shooting predators, and Seok Jun confidently states that this is done before a war starts to protect people from wild animals. The students start fooling around, causing Yeon-hoon to want to go outside away from the noise, but he is stopped by the appearing Lieutenant Lee. Yeon-hoon reports Il-ha, who is using a phone despite the ban, and the commander, without much thought, takes the gadget away from the high schooler. When Lieutenant Lee leaves, enraged Il-ha attacks Yeon-hoon for ratting him out and intends to beat up the nerd. At that moment, Kai-yeol appears, trying to stop the fight when, suddenly, one of the alien spheres falls to the ground with a loud crash, hitting the corner of the school. Nevertheless, the students continue to fight. Il-ha pushes Yeon-hoon towards the sphere, from which a huge monster with powerful tentacles suddenly emerges and grabs the boy tightly. Il-ha and Kai-yeol watch in horror as the monster devours their comrade alive, and Lieutenant Lee, who appears next, drags the boys away from the dangerous place, while the sphere closes again and takes on its original shape. Learning the horrifying truth from the commander, Mrs. C. Park cries and wants to send the other students home, to which the military says that he has orders to keep what happened a secret and continue the training. The teacher orders Il-ha and Kai-yeol to keep silent, lying to the others that Yeon-hoon had to urgently go home. The students realize that something sinister is happening around them and come up with the most fantastic guesses about it, while Lieutenant Lee recalls with horror the monstrous aliens from the alien sphere that killed all his comrades. General Park Yang-il orders subordinates to intensify the military training of high school students, understanding that they will soon have to face a real enemy. The obstacle course becomes much more serious, and the bullets, instead of training ones, are replaced with real ones, although not all students can accurately shoot at the target. The kids are trained like real soldiers, learning survival skills in field conditions and providing first aid to their injured comrades. The students are forbidden to call their relatives. They can only record short video messages for them. Kai-yeol notices the reserved Lee Nora, who excels in shooting from a rifle. The fallen sphere near the school is frozen and placed under a thick metal dome to prevent the monsters from harming anyone else. The next morning, students, along with several soldiers, head into the city, surprisingly finding its streets empty. Here, the kids train again in shooting rifles at targets, improving each time. On the way back to school, the group hears a strange noise, prompting Lieutenant Lee to order everyone to stop. Two high school students, without much thought, sneak into a grocery store and start devouring everything from the shelves. Not finding a couple of students, the class teacher asks a soldier to go search for them. When one of the students tells the teacher that the couple stayed in the grocery store, Mrs. Peshapak, along with the head student, decides to go back for them. Lieutenant Lee and Sergeant Won Bin discover a large hole in the ground from the fallen sphere, next to which there is human blood. At the same time, the teacher and the head student enter an alley where they see several brutally killed city residents, their bodies being devoured by small alien monsters with sharp teeth and long tentacles. Mrs. Pepper Pack shouts at the students to run away from there as fast as they can, while she herself tries to shoot the hellish creatures, but they instantly attack and kill her. Another monster kills the soldier, and the students, witnessing this horror, run in different directions. Some panic, becoming easy prey for the monsters, while one of the students locks herself in the nearest car, shaking with fear, hoping the creatures won't reach her. Experienced Sergeant Won Bin manages to take under his protection several high school students. At the same time, two students in the store notice an unusual creature, which looks quite harmless. The boys decide to play with the monster, which shows its predatory nature and attacks them. Miraculously, the boys manage to avoid the creature's attacks several times and then lock it in the refrigerator, where it soon dies from the low temperature. Several other students struggle on the parking lot with another monster until one of the boys manages to hit it with a heavy bucket. Eventually, Lieutenant Lee and Sergeant Won Bin manage to save most of the high school students and gather everyone together at a small intersection. The soldiers issue combat ammunition to the kids and explain that the games are over because the dangerous enemy has declared a real hunt on humans. The group hears a strange noise around the corner, but it soon turns out to be just two lost high school students. Returning to school and being left without adults, the kids start to panic, no longer wanting to stay here in the unknown and eager to return home as soon as possible. The appearing Lieutenant Lee tries to calm the high school students down and explain to them that the school is now the safest place in the whole city. However, this doesn't convince the students much, who, after the departure of the military, start voting to leave home or stay at school. Everyone wants to leave the school except Yeon Hoon, who still hopes to get into university thanks to the military training. This infuriates Il-ha, and he attacks the nerd in rage. After that, the students inform Lieutenant Lee that the majority have decided to leave, to which Lee responds that they no longer have a home, as all civilians were evacuated long ago. Devastated, the students reluctantly attend another training session in the evening, where the commanders push them to their limits. At the same time, the military tests various types of weapons on captured creatures. Regular bullets only slow them down, and fire does not harm them, and only depleted uranium bullets can destroy the monsters. However, the army has too few of such ammunition. The high school students refuse to believe that the city is completely deserted and try to escape from school the next evening, but they are quickly caught by soldiers patrolling the area. Angry Lieutenant Lee declares to the students that from now on, deserters will be declared and shot on the spot. However, there are not many high school students left. They persuade students from other classes to break through in a large crowd, causing Lieutenant Lee to calm down the heated kids by firing several shots into the air. In the courtyard, chaos erupts, and at that very moment, another sphere falls next to the students, from which several hundred small but very angry monsters emerge. The predatory creatures immediately attack the people, leaving them no chance of survival. General Pak Yang-il cowardly tries to escape, but one of the creatures manages to jump into the car after him and takes care of the man. There is real chaos in the courtyard. The students don't know where to run, as the monsters surround them from all sides, and the few surviving soldiers cannot offer serious resistance to the aliens. Lieutenant Lee orders the terrified teenagers to move with him to the classroom, where the kids put on uniforms and grab loaded weapons. Then, the group of students, led by the commander, rushes out from the other side of the building, shooting at the monsters along the way, which are not too many here yet. The lieutenant orders the students to jump into the bed of the military truck, but unfortunately, several kids become victims of the vicious creatures, and the commander has to step on the gas to break out of the aliens' encirclement while there is still a chance to save anyone.